sometimes you have to do things you don't want to do, and it's because the Democrats have put us into this position. If the Democrats did not vote to shut down the government, we would not be standing up here talking about layoffs today. We'd be talking about all the other news stories going on in the world in our country. We'd be talking about all of the great things that this administration is doing to uplift Americans across the country. But unfortunately, the Vice President of the United States and I have to come out here today to talk about a government shutdown that the Democrats put us in this position. Individuals and organizations across the political spectrum, across the country, agree with the Trump administration and Republicans. The labor union leader, the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, sent a very blunt message to Democrats over their destructive antics. He said American workers are not bargaining chips. Senators need to stop screwing around and pass the House-passed clean short-term funding bill. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the world's largest business organization, called to immediately pass the Republican Clean CR, saying, quote, shutdowns are harmful to the economy, the American people, and our national security. This government shutdown is no doubt going to impact everyday Americans, and it is the fault of the Democrats that we are in this position. And I know I relayed some programs that will be impacted. The Vice President did as well, but I just want to make sure the American public understand what the Democrats have done to our government and our country. 1.3 million active duty troops will work now without pay. Critical food assistance for low-income women, infants, and children will now lapse. No new mothers or children are allowed to join this critical program because of the Democrats' decision to shut down the government. Telehealth services for seniors and in-home treatment options for Medicare patients will now come to an end. Nearly 50,000 members of the United States Coast Guard are going to have to work unpaid. Over 13,000 air traffic controllers will work without pay, as well as TSA agents, which will very likely create flight disruptions. And pay will now stop for over 150,000 federal law enforcement officers. These are not just numbers and statistics. These are real Americans who have families at home. Right now, we need to reopen the United States federal government because people are going without pay. You have thousands of federal workers who have to show up to work and not get paid, and that's an unfortunate situation the Democrats have put us in. Then we can discuss this very important issue of health care that the president absolutely wants to fix.
Thank you for calling the White House comment line.
Hello, America. This is White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt. Democrats in Congress have shut down the federal government because they care more about funding health care for illegal immigrants than they care about serving you, the American people. Until Democrats vote for the clean, Republican-backed continuing resolution to reopen the government, the White House is unable to answer your call or respond to your questions. We look forward to hearing from you again very soon. And in the meantime, please know President Trump will never stop fighting for you. Thank you, and God bless you.
What's the real world effect of a government shutdown? What happens in America when the government shuts down like it has?
Well, the truth is, for most Americans, almost nothing happens, okay? But, you know, for some, when you're relying on government support for something, like it can show up. So, for example, if you need a passport, you're not getting a passport. If you need a visa, you're not getting a visa. If you're a contractor with the Department of Transportation and you're laying down road and you need to buy asphalt, you're not buying that asphalt. So things start grinding to a halt where there's government involvement. There are also places where the administration, where the president has the ability to say, I know people aren't going to get paid, but you still have to show up for work. So when you go to an airport, there's still going to be security agents checking you in. There's still going to be air traffic controllers making sure your planes take off and land. In a city like Washington, D.C., where I live, tens, well, more like hundreds of thousands of people, aren't working. So in this city, it really feels like a lot. And episodically in other parts of the country, it can feel like either a minor hassle, a major hassle, or nothing at all.
Okay, obviously, the longer this shutdown goes on, the more it hurts and the more desperate it becomes. How do you see this ending?
Well, you have a situation now where both sides try and inflict as much pain on the other side as possible politically. The issue for Democrats is they really don't have that much leverage to cause pain for Republicans. The way they cause pain is really through messaging and by saying, look, we're trying to protect people's health care. We're trying to make sure people's health care premiums don't go up. And their goal is to get that message out so that voters hear that and say, well, this shutdown is worth it. Trump can do all sorts of things by saying, like, I'm going to fire people. I'm going to stop, national parks from being open. I'm going to make sure this road doesn't get built. So the president has much more leverage in this situation. Still, the president is seen as someone who breaks things, not repairs things. So the blame for the shutdown, more often than in the past, will probably go to President Trump than in shutdowns in the past. So this is going to play out, I think, over the course of weeks. And in the end, one or both sides are going to have to give.
Yeah, it certainly seems that they are. What's the biggest sticking point? Is it over Obamacare payments?
Yeah, so in Trump's big, beautiful bill, they eliminated a series of subsidies to help really working class people pay for health insurance. It affects anywhere between 12 and 20 million people. And Democrats want to get those subsidies for health insurance, back so that folks can get it. You heard J.D. Vance saying, like, it goes to illegal immigrants. That's news to me. I mean, there's been a law in the books saying illegal immigrants can't get these subsidies and healthcare aid, at least since 1996. Maybe some sneak through and somehow they get it, but that's not the reality in this country.